Yeah, I picked one that I won that was close and one that I lost that was close. There, I think the reason that I like left the session feeling so annoyed is even though I won most of the games that I was trying, at a certain point, I think I lost a game and then just got frustrated and then started throwing.
Okay. So with that in mind, I'm gonna share my screen. I want you to tell me what it is that you find frustrating here, because like in this Pokemon Stadium game, presumably we're gonna have things that are frustrating, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I think the bow is like growing on me. I used to not like the bow, but like I'm a flower I like flower, but like I think the bow is like growing on me.
I think it's her best skin, but
I mean,
I
that's
think headband and crown are overrated.
agreed. Okay, so I like the okay, gotcha.
I mean, I can tell just off of that, like this game definitely came later in the session, and I was probably super annoyed.
Yeah, so let's talk about that for like so on this first dock, what's like the plan here?
Typically my Marth game plan is significantly more grounded. Because or it's grounded in like much more like short hop based, just because I think that's like a much stronger position to be in than like trying to float into Marth.
Hmm.
Um, but like I probably was just trying to like get the stock lead like as quick as possible, and I feel much more comfortable when I can like full hop as most of my approaches than having to like articulate like short hops and picking like the best good moves off of a short hop instead of just full hop back airing towards him.
Yeah, so let me ask you something. So here you like do this back air and he fares out of shield and gets you. How often would you say that happens?
Um, Probably all the time. Happen again.
Yep. Okay. So that like I get the impression that that is something of a pain point in the matchup.
Yeah, typically.
Gotcha. Cool. So I'm gonna flag that. So fair out of shield, fair Marth fair out of shield. Because once we are done here, like once we've looked this over, we're gonna like flag some of these. Like we're gonna like dig into how we can deal with these. So when with you being on the ground and him looking for these down tilts, like are you making like what do you think the okay gotcha? So then this happens. So let me ask you, why are you dashing away from him after this?
I mean, I missed my L cancel and probably just tried to get out of there instead of popping a shield.
Okay, like do you want to shield here necessarily? Like what? Like why shield and not crouch?
I don't know. I think, I mean, just like off of like the percent, because Nick isn't like relatively to like he was playing a phenomenal neutral, but like anytime he grabbed me, I wasn't super worried. But like usually when I'm playing sessions, I don't typically play the player, so I'm at a percent that I don't want to be grabbed, and shielding can lead to grab. And if I crouched here, most of the other Marths that I play would just do a quick little dash dance and then scoop me up anyway. So I don't know. I probably just didn't crouch after missing the L cancel, because I didn't want to be grabbed. So I picked the other panic option, which was try to dash away.
Gotcha. So like here's my next question. So this is how often would you say you lose this spot? Like how often would you say this spot is a problem?
Um, Not a ton. I think I'd more died here. Like if I didn't miss the cell cancel, I would have been actionable. What, like 14 frames? Instead of however much the end lag of a back air is.
Well, it's just double, right? So it's like so if it would be it's 20 it would be 20 like back air takes 10 for the L cancel, so this is like you're an additional -10.
Yeah.
So my question would be, if the Marth against another Marth, like let's say you're fighting somebody who like does the like dash dancey like dash grabby thing, right? Like who scoops you. I like. Do you think that like this dash away avoids that?
Probably not. I think I have somewhere in Marth notes to implement wave dash down while sitting in crouch in certain positions, especially like death percents, because she goes so much lower than like her normal crouch, also by wave dashing.
Yeah.
And you don't get the breathing animation as much.
Yeah, because like you're refreshing it, sort of. Yeah. So that I'm aware of. I would also say that like wave dashing forward and back can be like pretty good. It's not just a matter of down. Like sometimes it is good to like move around with it. One thing I'm curious about, when they go to scoop you off the ground, they like what? They dash grab, right?
Yeah.
Spot. Have you considered? What do you think about say spot dodge?
Yeah, that would work. It's just that's the like holding crouch and shield are like habits, whereas spot dodge usually when I spot dodge, it's a very like cerebral, like I'm thinking about like what's about to happen in the moment. So I think spot dodging is a little bit harder to build in as a habit. But yeah, spot dodge would definitely.
Is it a hand conflict thing? Like, is it because you're already holding down, so it's like hard to let go and like flick down?
Well, no, I mean, I do the C stick.
Okay, good. You know about that. Good.
Just always.
Gotcha. Okay, that's good. Because like what I'm thinking here is it makes a lot of sense. I feel like if our options are to crouch and wave dash, like that's fine. Like that's okay. Like that you can build a plan off that for sure. But I think that like things like spot dodge do have their place in this kind of mix-up. Heck, I'd even say like dash attacking into him and like F smash and like ripping F smash even have their place in this kind of mix-up. But that we can like it sounds like you have a pretty good grasp on like what you want to do in that spot, so I'm not worried about that so much. The biggest thing here is I'm noticing that like, and I think this might be like a drift, like it's a drift thing, but like I think that we're like afraid to interact. I think that because we get aerialed out of shield a lot, we're afraid to interact with his shield, and I think that's making this matchup a lot harder than it has to be.
Mm-hmm.
Because like you see how like how much distance you're keeping. Like to me, a lot of these positions are ones where you can like with better like off like that would be another one. So I think that this ferret of shield thing is absolutely like has to be the #1 priority. Because like if we can't attack Marth's shield safely, then like we're going to have a bad time in this matchup.
Do you think like at what point does the day one like forward air into the shields and immediately drop like into crouch? Do you think that like that I've gotten to a point where that like could be a mix up instead of just like the option? Because I used to do that a lot, and Toussaint was like, no, that's day one stuff. That gets stuffed out way too much. You should stop doing it. I can't believe that missed.
I mean, so I feel like day one stuff gets a bad rep in this game. Day one stuff just means it's like, I don't know what people mean when they say day one stuff. I would just say that like Fair is not as good in this matchup as like Fair is okay. And it has a place in this matchup. I would say that back air is still like a really important move because it's easier to hit and it's easier to control space with. But Fair can work. Like again, if we are facing him, like see to me this is like that was good spacing on that back air. Like I don't know if you saw it, but like this was kind of like the goal that we're looking for.
Oh, that was a C stick back air.
Yeah, so I think that like what we need is like we need C stick. We need to be like more comfortable with C stick back air, or we need to just be comfortable like jumping in place while going and then like leaning into him and then like jumping up in place, back airing and then drifting away right after. So you can lean into him a little bit, but then at the instant that back air is like queued up, we have to be holding away from him. Yeah, like when you're in this free fall, like this is another thing I notice. So, like, we're going for this, like, pound here, but, like, he's not even at the pound percent. Like, I'm wondering why we're not just, like, falling away from him with back air. See what I mean? Like, we can just hit him right in his head.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's talk about this spot. So you have Marth here, and he's in the air. What's the plan here right now? Like, what are you going for?
I don't know why I rolled towards center and held shield. This when Marth, I love having Marth above me because he doesn't have the best options coming down.
Mm-hmm.
Like getting clipped with down air sucks sometimes, but up air is super strong. I mean, I've tried going for it there, but
Mm-hmm.
I think in like some of the Mars games later on in the night, I was pretty good about like getting my like up air at knockdown percent, and then just like getting like 4 or 5 up airs out of it.
Yeah. So here we have something interesting happen too. Actually curious. Let me watch this again. Because, like, what you're saying about the up air makes a lot of sense, but, like, here. So we have this, and we go for, like, this back air. I'm curious, do you think we could have, like, do you think back air is the best? Like, what are your thoughts on up airing, potentially?
I mean, at a certain point, up air sends too high, and then it goes from being, like, a combo juggle to just, like, keeping them in the air as long as possible. I figured probably at this percent, like, I could, like, hit 2 back airs and then go into an edge guard situation, but I was much faster on my back airs than the Marth was coming out of hit stun and forward airing me. But, like, that's what I mean when, like, slower tempo players just really trip me up. I think that most people are going to try to do the fastest option at any given point, so I have to cover the fastest option. But then they cover my fast option with the slower, slightly offbeat option, and I just lose. I lose so many situations like that, and that's kind of where it gets frustrating. Where it's just we're playing off of their tempo, but because I just keep forcing it. Because I'm like, oh, surely you're going to try to snipe my jump and hit me as early as possible.
So I have a slightly different explanation for this one.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that, like, I'm almost wondering, like, do we even want to back air him here? I'm almost wondering, like, do we just turn around and, like, fair him or something, you know? Because you have the access to the weak hit fair here at this trajectory. Like, I'm thinking rising weak hit fair, we, like, go follow him up here. If he holds away, then he gets stuck on the platform, if he can even make it to the platform. Because we can probably just, like, double jump forward with fair or, like, fall with fair, you know what I mean? Like, I'm wondering if because he's at 53 and has the entire stage behind him to DI, I'm just wondering if, like, a move like strong hit Bair even makes sense in this spot. Because Bair's consistent power means that, like, if he holds away, he never gets followed up on here. So I'm just wondering if there's if Jigglypuff has a way of, so to me this is like a situation where it's pretty clear that that he wants to hold away from us because it prevents him from dying to back air chain. Mm-hmm. So knowing that, we also can make there are certain assumptions we can make, and if we're wrong on in that, we can probably guess that he's going to go somewhere up and over here on up air. Part of why I like the up air is because I don't think he's going to be I don't think he's going to be above center stage at the end of it. I think he's going to be above the corner after it. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it might not change the play. The play might still be back air. But I wonder if that's the case and we expect him to DI away and, like, land, perhaps instead of, like, going for this second back air right away before we can see what's going on. Because you go for this, like, ASAP. Do you see what I mean? Like, you go, like you said, fastest timing, but, like, I feel like because he's not even in the magnifying glass, like, we're not even anywhere close to him when we go for this double jump Bair. Like, he's down here, and we're up here. I almost wonder if it makes more sense for us not to double jump and just to, like, fall to the ground and see what happens. So, like, or land on the platform even. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Because we could, like, easily double jump, like, and then, like, teeter, double jump waveland here, stop here, like, teeter here, stop here. If we see him, like, come forward with this, like, fair, then he misses us. Like, imagine if we had double jump wavelanded here, just to, like, get an observation and, like, stop our position, and he does this fair, right? He's probably dead, we just F-smash him. Or fall through Bair again. That said, it is a very different tempo. So what is your, how do you, like, when I suggest that, like, what's kind of like your gut reaction? Like, what does your brain do?
I mean, now that like running through the play in my head, I see it. It's sometimes there's like melee plays where if I'm not playing like super, I think I have good decision making, but like decision making on like that level, like I gotta be playing like really good. So it's hard to sometimes go for like the big brain option, like land on the platform and see what my opponent does versus pick the fastest option that I have that I think could probably hit them a second time.
Okay, but like here's the thing though. We already know that this we can see if we're following Marth as we're like doing this though, we can see around here. Like when do you think we can recognize that we probably can't get a direct follow-up on him?
Let me see that. Probably after that back air hit.
Yeah, so like around here, right?
I could like probably like recognize the magnifying glass and understand that he's not near me.
Yeah, so like right now, because the magnifying glass is on screen, has been on screen for a while, like, and he's still not in sight.
Yep.
So he hasn't like caught up with us yet. So like to me, this is where we know, like, and you know, this is a pretty tricky play, like the double jump waveland here. I like it because it keeps us from getting like potential, like if we land on the ground and crouch and this guy just decides to like ball out with like fucking like dash grab, we're gonna be really miserable. But it's not the only thing that he can do. So like landing on the ground here is also fine. But I think we need to have I think that the big thing is recognition that he's like just too far at this point. Right? Because like this is what tells us that he's just too far. Like this distance from here. Because that is where everything goes awry. See, like you did it here. This is what I mean. Like you can tell.
I guess I did. I guess I just re-locked in.
Yeah. So like the other thing here is like once you land here in teeter, if you wanted to, you could have actually tracked him going here and just run off and fast fall fared. Like you could have actually contested him, but I think that what you do, like once you see that he's low, this winds up working a lot better. Cause like, yeah, you actually wind up hogging him. So this is there are offensive lines of play there that could potentially get him, but you still like took like that you took like an observational. Like that's kind of how you edge guard Marth. You have to pay attention to what position he's like drifting to or going to, and then taking the counterplay. Because if you try to like fight his fair and stuff head on when he still has it, it's just life is miserable.
That's another annoying thing that a lot of Marths do. I definitely will probably pop up in all of the games. Hitting their shield and immediately getting down aired out of it.
So what could we do instead? Like, so after we hit his shield, what could we do after?
The problem, I feel like the dare covers the crouch. So it turns into I don't know if I can get like shield out fast enough.
You absolutely can.
Okay.
If you like, remember your shield happens on frame 1, the same time that crouch happens. If we have time to crouch, we have time to shield. Honestly, I would say even just, like... Down air at a shield is, like, pretty slow. I would even be willing to contest, try to contest with up tilt. And just see if we can, like, hit it, like, trade or something. I'm not saying that it'll work, but, like, yeah. It's not a super fast option. You could even try, like, moving out of the way here. Like, here, let's go back to that shield interaction. Because, like, so right before here. So, like, here. So, what, like, if you had, like, just dashed forward, or, like, yeah, like, if you had dashed forward, I think that you actually, like, avoid him. Because the hitbox is out, like, here right now. So you're just heading this way. I think you could actually get out of the way. That said, I think that shielding is, like, a much cleaner solution. Yeah. The number one thing here, though, is that that we can't attack it. Is that we're not able to attack his, like, we're not attacking his shield very effectively in general. I think that, like, that is the number one thing that stands out to me. Talk me through this back air. This back air was well done. So what was, like, its deal? Was this a C-stick Bair?
So yeah, I would if you see me do like any not like super drift in back airs or any landing back airs, they're done with the C-stick generally, because that's just the muscle memory of using the Z always comes with a jump. So yeah, that was a C-stick back air.
Gotcha. So what do you think so something I would say that would make sense, to me, dash forward here. So, like, instead of, like, wave dashing, I would dash forward and then jump. So what you're doing here is, like, I'll actually show you this in a demonstration, because I think that, like, this might not necessarily make a ton of sense, but you'll see what I mean. Ah! No, things stop falling. Ah! Alright, here we go. So, training lab, Jigglypuff. And let's grab this guy, do this here. Okay, so, this is a good spot. This is perfect. Have him shield, and we will have him ferret a shield. Cool. Oh wait, that's air. Shield. So what we'll have here is, and here, I'll try to do this with A button, so you can see what I mean. So, like, you see how, like, when I hit his shield with, like, back air, I can kind of, like, move away from him out of shield after.
Wow, okay.
Like, I'm used to C-stick, but this is what I mean when I say that, like, we have to be, like, we have to be willing to, like, back air and then, like, drift away after. See what I mean? So, like, that's one thing I'd say. Like, the other thing that makes some amount of sense is, like, if you land, like, this close to him, like, just get out of the way after with, like, your dash jump. Because you can see, like, even if he tries to shield, like, I'm gonna have to do this part with, like, with the C-stick just because I don't have the execution on that, but, like, let's have him do grab instead just for funsies. Well, actually, no, because on grab we could just do that, but... So, grab. So, I swear to God I can do this. I guess like the simpler solution though is just to, like, crouch and then do it though. Like, so it would be like that, and then if he fares, then we just, like, delay it slightly later. But you see, like, like the logic here, right? Yeah,
and I mean, I think I kind of just. I'd have to, like, gauge the player more with that, because, like, the thing earlier, like, the message, like, the screenshot I sent you from Panko, Panko said pretty much he formulates his game plan, like, during the set, just versus, like, what the Marth is doing. Whereas I'm more I can play the player when it's like someone like I've played a lot, like Mars or like Jay, or like that applies to most characters where it's if I know the player well enough, like we've played a couple sets or a couple sessions, and I'm like, okay, I have a general grasp of what you would like to do specifically. I tailor the game plan around those kinds of things, but I think I'm fairly bad at it when it's someone I've never played before or played maybe once.
Yeah.
Um, outside of like, I have taken like a notice to like specific habits, at least as far as like how they're getting kills on me. That was a little like mental thing that I like started thinking about while I was down in Pennsylvania, like VOD reviewing. When I actually, it might have been before, because it was during like the rank thing, and it was kind of new at that point, where I was like, oh, this is like a very grabby fox. I think this fox is going to try to grab as much as possible, because that's kind of all he's done so far. So I just like tailor around the fact that I think that they're gonna pick that option more than others.
Yeah. And, like, the thing I'm noticing, like, it's like there's a lot of like the range for doing like back airs is pretty high, like on the control stick itself. Like, you see what I mean? Like if I do it here, like up in the corner, like I can kind of like like it's almost like easier if I aim it to the corner. Like instead of going like full forward, it's almost easier if I like aim for like the upper corner, like the top left or right like notch, and then once I'm there, like I just drift inward. So I'm not using like, because I don't want full momentum on these. And like you can see that like it even lets me like punish with like better stuff too. So I think that like using like the biggest thing here I'm seeing here is just like an opportunity, because I bet you're doing like full in like this on a lot of these, right? And then like that's like making it really hard, but like all that is just aim more up. Because, yeah, I find this hard. Like, I find it hard to, like, switch like that. But I think this is part of why Hungrybox like, I don't know if you've seen Hungrybox's input map.
Oh, I've seen him plenty of times. It's really funny that, like, he'll go a whole game without touching any face button.
No, but, like, I mean on, like, the stick maps. Like, you know how people are putting up those, like, box, like, these are the input maps for, like...
Yeah.
So Hungrybox has put one up, and his is like a circle. His is like actually touches almost every coordinate on the control stick. And I think this is a big part of why his like drift is so much better than everyone's, because it's like I think that these like middle points, like these upper ones, they're really important apparently for this character to get the things that she needs. See what I mean? Like it is so much easier than doing like this. It's also like so much more subtle. Like, it's not clear what Jigglypuff is doing here. And, like, I can actually, like, play close and, like, look for back airs. Like, I think that this, like, concept of just, like, not going so full, like, all the way in is, like, is a really, like, big thing. I think that this is, like, where almost all of, like, the things come from. Yeah, exactly. See what I mean? Like, he uses everything.
Interesting.
But yeah, that's so like open Uncle Punch, and like I'm open Uncle Punch for me. Like I want to see you like experiment with this, because I want to know if this is something that like meshes with you. So open Uncle Punch, share your screen. Let me take a look at what you're doing. Because, yeah, I feel like if you just had more freedom with attacking Marth's shield and, like, just had more ability to, like, space with precision, I feel like a lot of the problems that we have in this matchup would, like, probably disappear. So right now, okay, yes, perfect. I can see Training Lab.
I was trying to find my early.
Yeah, perfect. Let's go to FD. Or Stadium's fine, Stadium's fine. And I just don't want a weird level like Fountain or something. So just have him shield and try to grab. Or actually just have him shield first. Like, just let's get like kind of get a feel for the spacing before we have him do anything else. And let's turn DI display on. Like, sorry, input display on. So, like, we're using, like, the upper corners when we're going up. So, like, we're still doing... Yeah, exactly. So it's, like, still basically what you're doing, but we're just going, like, a little bit... Yeah.
Okay. No, I mean, I see the difference, because, like, usually, I do my bears like that.
Yeah, so, like, now... So what this is doing is, like, it's allowing us to work in shorter distances. Try doing full hop Bair with this. I feel like full hop, it's going to be even more pronounced. Yeah! Like, this looks good. Try full hop Bair into double jump or something. So when okay, gotcha. So I think one thing that we also want to clean up is like a little bit of let's turn an overlay on, like a color one. So human color overlays. I think it should be in general. Human color overlays, and then let's do actionable. Yeah, let's do actionable green. So, like, do back air? Yeah, because it'll, like, now flash green on the interruptible frame, I think. So, like, let's try to do a full hop back air, falling back air. So on the falling back air, if you can, try to do that one with C-stick. And, like, drifting away from him on the falling one. Like, we want the second one to be, like, basically as spaced as perfectly as possible. Like, low and drifting away. But you can practice it practice it not on him, just, like, getting a feel for it. That was great, and we just want that second one slightly lower, but yeah, that was good. And you see how we're like kind of like drifting outside of like where his fair would go while we're doing this. Because you can also like space it even further away from his shield if you wanted to. Yeah, fair? Perfect. So the reason I like the C-stick on the next one is because, like, it's just kind of like, it lets us, like, kind of, like, work with precision on our drift. Like, we don't have to compromise on it. But, like, on the rising one, the speed is important. So, like, I get it on that one, but I think on the second one, if we can. So, how does this feel compared to, like, how we normally pressure Marth's shield?
Oh, it's so much better, actually.
So the thing is, one word of caution, he can jump forward, like, the actual Marth player will jump forward out of shield, so it's, like, the spacing is slightly different. Like, it is, like, we have to be prepared for, like, coming forward, but, like, you can see, like, we can compensate for that pretty easily. Like, yeah, if you drift away, like, even just a smidge there, like, you're fine. Like, yeah, exactly. And this will help you versus, like, any character. Because this is also, like, really good versus Peach. It's good versus Peach, it's good versus Sheik. It's good versus Fox, too, like, believe it or not. Because the thing about Fox is, like, he wants us to, like, play in the space where he can potentially, like, bounce. Like, if you imagine where Fox's full hop out of shield goes, like, and where his, like, wave dash goes, he kind of wants us to play in either the end of one spot or, like, in the path of the other. But by being able to, like, move like this, we can kind of like be right on the edge of the full hop, but still within the wave dash area. But still like compensate for the wave dash by getting out of the way of it, like, or potentially even punishing it. Like we're so much more capable. Yeah, like this is just like this really is just like a safety thing. from the looks of it. I don't even know, like, I don't even know if the other Nick match is, like, worth looking at, because I feel like this is going to change, like, a lot about, like, how you do this matchup. Because, like, if you can be safe while attacking him, where you couldn't before, like, that's big. That said, we do have about 25 minutes left, so I'll pass it to you. What are your thoughts on what to do with that time?
I think we should probably look at like the Mars one. The Mars one is gonna show
Yeah,
at least a lot more like standard of a Mars player.
that makes sense to me.
How like how a good Marth player keeps me in disadvantage, and maybe get some ideas as to how to like be in disadvantage a lot less.
Yeah, or like what to do and how to manage it so we can recover into a fight position more effectively. I love it. So let's just flag that first takeaway. So using the upper part of the control stick gate to for setting up bears with better spacing. Better spacing. Yeah, cool. So with that out of the way, let's take a look at this. Interesting. The second up air. Interesting on the second up air. So, when you do that up air,
I can't see the game.
Oh, select. Do you see where it says like? Sorry, is it playing or is it? Are you not?
No, I clicked on. I was clicked into like your profile picture.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
So you can see it now. Okay, cool. So, question about this like second. So when you take this up air here and take this second up air, what's the plan with this drift?
Let me see it from the start again.
Yeah.
Okay. So drill. Up air. I guess probably just anticipating that she was gonna DI the way that. Well, actually, maybe that might just be how I do them. I think I have a tendency of moving towards, I would say, like the right of the screen when doing moves versus probably truly following them or just doing them straight away. But like my up airs also have a very similar like drift pattern if I do them with the C stick versus doing it with Z, because I think that like typically like all my falling up airs are with the C stick, but like most of my like up air conversions come with using Z, and it's probably like I flick up in Z and then just like naturally move my stick more to the right.
Gotcha. That makes sense, because I was gonna say, like, what really surprised me is that the form on the second up air is perfect. Like, this is amazing up to this point. What happens here is, like, then you start drifting away for some reason. I'm like, we needed to just keep going straight up. We needed to like let this. We needed to see where she was going and then hold that way. Because, like, what you've done here is you've given yourself, like, a really good, like, trajectory to work with. I'd even argue that this might sound weird, but I think that like in this spot, it might actually even make sense to go just land on the platform, because if she DIs to the side here, like she goes about here, landing on the platform lets you then like jump up and like attack and continue again, right? Because you can like full hop from here to here. Mm-hmm. And if she goes above here, and if she goes on by landing on the platform, we can also like potentially jump up and rest her. But yeah, I would say that like structuring, like trying to follow where she goes, but like even more than that, like using like landing on the platforms, I think is a big thing with up airs.
Okay, you can see this next up air where I like read that she like rolled on the top plat, and I did the exact same thing, even though she went the other way.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's generally just if I'm not doing a falling up air, that's just how I like where I like angle my stick towards.
Okay, so this is another spot where I think we can use, like, would you say that like maybe we could apply like what we learned about using the upper part of the control stick gate to like this situation, and like and that could be part of the solution?
Maybe.
Well, what do you think? Well, what are your thoughts? Like, so, because I'm thinking we can just like we can hold. Because I feel like you're moving it. Like, so let me ask you, why are you moving it to the right? Is it just where your thumb is comfortable resting, or?
Like most people, when I like hold the controller, my thumbs don't like rest perfectly on like the sticks. It's always off to the left. So like the natural like thumb like going forward direction is say like goes towards the right.
But like, so, are you able to have your thumb on like rest on the stick without it like moving?
Yeah, but if I like am doing something, I think my up honestly is actually probably towards the like top right instead of just directly up. Yeah, I think I mean we could probably find out with like M overlay. Um
Yeah, because I think that like that, I think that we need to be able to like rest it. I think we need to be able to like rest our thumb on the stick, like have it be there like resting with a little pressure, not any force, but like just sit there without us like having to commit to a direction. Because I think if we have to commit to a direction, we're in trouble. Because like it means that like we have to take our thumb off the stick completely, and like that's not really where we want to be. Like I think that we should be able to like have confidence in like, you know, our ability to hold up and then like move to the left or right as we need it. But yeah, the biggest thing so far is just like, yeah, I think it's really just controlling your drift. I think that's like the number one thing that like I would say that like stands out, because all of these other little things like she's a character who's so built off like that mechanic, like they're like how she applies her drift to situations, that I'm honestly not even sure like what I would even say about some of these other spots, because good crouch there. Yeah, it's just there's so. Because all of those are going to be affected by it too. I guess this is worth digging into. So like here, so you get into this spot, and like you go for this grab. I think like are you trying to like call something out here? Like what do you think the grab is for?
I was trying to call out the dash drive that's coming. I like from her dashback, I like recognized that she was going to do a pivot like turnaround grab. Just because that's like I think that's one the Marth, but two I play Mars is probably like outside of like tournament the most Marth like the only Marth player I really play, so I'm really tapped into like what she does. That was definitely the grab was to call it out because I was like I watched her dash back and was like, oh, I'm gonna try to grab her.
Gotcha. So if that's the case, I'm a little concerned that we're trying to like beat a grab that is longer than ours with a grab. I feel like there is like it's I'm not sure that this is exactly like a counter or something that like is expected to generally beat this option.
No, I mean usually like with like Marth's dash grab, you want to do it so like your dash grab hitbox goes over the crouching puff, because like
yeah, like they need to get over you basically.
This was done from so far away that like if I recognize there and just dropped crouch like immediately, it whiffs. But like that's my expectations were that she was gonna go slightly further and then do the dash grab, not pivot and then immediately dash grab.
Right. That makes sense. That makes sense. I guess my question here is if this is an option that like that has the chance has a failure rate, but like it's not like I do get that this like would beat her for doing the for coming in like sooner, like it's for coming in and like and delaying the grab. Like I do get that. At the same time, I'm also wondering from the basis of from like a rewards perspective, do we even get a whole lot even if we get this grab?
Probably not. But like I sometimes when you like you're like, oh, I have the read, and you just kind of do it without like having having reads that you're willing to put your like the all your eggs in one basket based on a read. I would say like that's like a very like gut feeling, like, oh, in my gut she's going to try to dash grab me. What if I just grab her back?
Oh,
Right? So
I'm not disputing the fact,
yeah,
like the decision to attack here. I think the
yeah.
decision to attack here is perfectly fine. I'm wondering why this isn't forward smash.
I don't know. I think it was just what I was feeling in the moment. But like what I was saying is like when you have such a read, and like technically I was right. I just chose the wrong move. You
Hmm.
don't like the risk reward isn't necessarily like calculated the same way as it would be if I was like waiting for something like what's the have you seen the like Lod's Guide to Improvement, how there's like two different kinds of like like reads, I guess, from what I'm remembering, where it's like
Yeah.
I think like it wasn't that I was waiting for this option. I knew she was going to do this option, so I wanted to do it first, kind of thing. Versus, oh, I think she's going to dash grab here. I should just hold crouch and go from there. It was more, and it's also like
This is a
this
hard
isn't
read.
tournament. This is just a friendly little session that I was playing because I wanted some Marth games. So like not everything here was done with the idea of like crushingly winning in a tournament.
Sure.
Where, like, when I'm in a tournament set, I would not be like, oh, I know that this Marth player is going to dash grab me. I should grab him. Like, that's stupid. But I think for here on it, at least, like, the like, thought process behind it was kind of funny. But at, like, 61%, like, especially if I had won this dash grab, a back throw here probably is sending the Marth player pretty far because they're already angling towards that way. Or an
Yeah.
up throw puts into a juggle situation, or like an F throw maybe.
Yeah, I mean, like, these are all true things. I guess my question is like, do you think that going forward in this kind of spot, if you do have like this, if you do anticipate that they're going to do this kind of like dash grab thing, does it make sense to include other things in this spot like F smash or dash attack,
Yeah,
so that you can contest more of the forward space? Because grab covers like, because I get the idea here, like grab covers like this space in front of you, but like F smash covers over here and dash attack covers over here. So
hmm,
like to me, it gives you like more range, it gives you more versatility on your threat. So like, which lets you like pressure the Marth, like it lets you call out the Marth in different ways essentially. Um, and some of the, and I'd argue F smash and dash attack generally have higher reward too. Especially if you can, if they're like doing tight dash dances and you happen to clip them on like hold like on a dash back, you know what I mean?
yeah,
So I think that like that's really what I'm trying to get at. Like I don't think there's any like I do get the grab. I'm just wondering, like I just feel like the grab is usually low reward, and I would argue the grab is really at its best at lower damages, where like when Marth is at lower damage, and like the other two might potentially be unsafe on hit. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Um, So that's kind of my thinking. Now, if you disagree on that, that's totally fine. But yeah, like or if you have a different opinion, that's a-okay. But yeah, I'm basically just advocating for a more complete overall system.
No, I agree. I think like I could just having the like pattern recognition like in this spot to at least do something off of the read is good. I think I just chose a silly option just based on like what I knew was gonna happen.
Yeah, the other thing here is actually like I guess the other thing here is we're actually in shield, not crouch here. So like that I think is worth noting. Um, I thought we were in crouch, but we're actually in shield. So maybe land in crouch as opposed to landing in shield.
Hmm.
And then we can play off this more effectively, because like really like the shield kind of limits us. I feel like if we shield now upon review, knowing it was shield, I feel like the only other alternative here is really spot dodge and like wave dash back. Really, like those are the two that come to mind for me.
Hmm.
Yeah, but that's not nearly as exciting as the other stuff, because we still have those two options on, like, if we're on the crouch land, if we land in crouch anyway. So it's like, yeah, this is good. I think the big thing here is just like in this kind of like it's really off of like this kind of like, let's get the landing. It's really when we land from... It was earlier in this. Here. Yeah. Yeah, so it's like, it's in this scramble here. This is where we decide to do it. So I think this is like, this is the key here. So like here, we land in this spot, we're going to go into shield. Like, currently we go into shield here. And then we're thinking like, yeah, just instead of, like, we shield, instead of that, we're thinking, you know, we have other options here. Let's use blue. You're blue.
So a situation like this, I actually talked with Zanya about at Big Red Monthly, where she said that like a good bit of the stuff that I was doing was fine, but that I should lean more into crouching if I instead of shielding, because she was like, yeah, you just kind of shielded a lot instead of crouching, so I just got you for it. So it was like, if you don't have answers to situations in this matchup, you should probably just start like crouching and making formulate a game plan around that. And I mean, like, I can see this here. Like, I immediately went into shield because like I whiffed. But crouching is good versus Marth.
Yeah, crouching is gonna be, honestly, crouching is good versus everyone. Because, like, the thing is, like, it's still making you a really small target that the opponent has to aim very specifically at in order to get you. The only characters where I think that, like, crouching is, like, explicitly bad is basically Peach. Even against Fox, I would still say that, like, not being hit by his rising aerial is still a pretty pretty powerful thing.
When I went on like a very like small, like just find puffs to play, because I was teetering with the idea of
going Fox, yeah,
instead of doing the ditto. I noticed that not only do I not crouch a ton, I'm not a big CC'er, and I don't know why. I'm like the Slippy kid. I'm the perfect model to always be holding down, but it's just I just don't do it a lot. I don't know why.
I think it might be because you're not sure how certain things work out of crouch. Let me give you a demonstration of some cool shit. So, let me ask you, have you ever heard of... So, one of the things that commonly happens when we're, like, fighting people, do you ever find you get pushed away really far from, like, when you're, like when you're crouch canceling, on the off chance you do one, do you find that you get pushed away, like, a good amount? Do you find that you get pushed away a good amount and, like, it's difficult for you to, like, get punishes? Like, you find you get pushed back like this?
Yeah, sometimes. I definitely, like, if it's like if I, like, CC a weak hit move, I can get a follow-up, but I definitely probably get pushed, like, back fairly far.
Yeah, like this, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we're going to learn how that works. So, let us turn on the wonderful world of DI displays. Will it capture this? No, it won't, because we're ASDIing down. Never mind. Okay, so what is crouch cancel? That is the million-dollar question, because this is really what dictates everything. Crouch canceling is really just like what it does is it reduces the knockback on a move to 2/3. As an example, to prove this, I am like now ASDIing up, so I am not getting the benefit of ASDI down. But I am still crouching, you see that, right? Oh, sorry, like... Oh, wait, actually, let me just... Yeah, see, like, I'm getting hit by it, and then, like, then I'm holding up, holding up on the C-stick afterwards. I'm not taking much knockback. I'm taking about 2/3 knockback compared to that. You see that?
Yeah.
So, it's not... The ASDI down is still the important effect in this context. Because what the ASDI down is doing is it's the thing that snaps us to the ground and causes us to, like, go into our auto-cancel landing, which gets rid of all the stun. It reduces it rounds the stun down to 4. But really, the crouch cancel is just increasing the range that we can do that on a given move. on a move that's susceptible to that, but because of the knockback reduction. But the two things are happening independently. You see, do you understand that so far, or does it not, or does it sound like I've just said a bunch of magic and like none of it makes sense?
When does ASDI down stop affecting CC?
I would
Because
say
I know that they like work in conjunction with each other, but I thought that generally they were like their own two separate like things.
That's a good question. So I would say that. Let me just save here. So, ASDI down stops working with crouch like or whenever the. So I would say the knockdown percent. So you see how I'm still getting knocked over here.
Yeah.
Like I would say that like when I'm talking about it working with like crouch cancel, what I'm really saying is at percents before the knockdown percent, the ASDI down is what actually like makes us actionable after we get hit. It's not the crouch cancel specifically, because if we can keep the crouch cancel and like we can keep the crouch cancel like this and add ASDI up, because that's what I'm inputting that. Oh, input displays off. Okay. So you see what I mean? So because I'm ASDI.
Okay.
Because I'm ASDIing up and not ASDIing down, like down, I'm not getting the benefit of of snapping to the ground. So that's a key concept. So we have to be holding down in some way. But you'll notice, depending on how I'm holding down, like the amount of knockback I take is less or more. This is what I mean when I say like we still take knockback from when during crouch cancel. It's just like we're still DIing a hit and therefore have like a hit trajectory and still have a hit trajectory that will send us closer or further. It is still good to like survival DI in the sense or hold towards him in some way. Do you see what I mean? Like
yeah. I definitely I wonder if and when I CC, if I'm just like holding either like just normally down or like down and away, and that's kind of why. Okay,
yeah.
All right. Well, now that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So like, and the cool thing here is like I have my notch set up so that it is like buffering. It is buffering walk when I get hit. This is just like this is basically on one of the standard shield drop notches, like on the bottom left and bottom right bottom left, bottom right notches, like natural notches. Like if you just calibrate for these like you see what I mean? Like these are like shield drop coordinates. But you see how I'm like walking forward afterwards. So like this is how like a lot of times like you can get like CC grabs, because like as soon as you see yourself walking, you know you're actionable. Like here.
Okay.
But yeah, so I would say that like this is also a good way of like preventing yourself like from accidentally like jabbing during crouch. Like if I hold down like this and then try to like Z, you see like I wound up doing that. But if I hold down and forward, because I start walking after, there's no risk of that.
Huh. Okay.
Because like for me to do this with this, it also reduces the knockback. Like because we're holding towards him somewhat. Yeah. So I would say that like crouching with like, and there's reasons that you might want to hold away from someone too, by the way. Like it's not like we're always fighting Ganon, for example. Like let's take Falco here, for example. He sometimes likes to back air us, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So like let's put ourselves to like a reasonable back air percent. Like a reasonable let's put ourselves to like say like 30. Cuz I feel like he might it's conceivable he might be interested in like back airing at this percent. So why do you think I want to hold away here?
To not get shined after.
Yeah, exactly. Or like hold down, because like again, like now by holding away, I don't get hit by the shine afterwards, and it's easier. Like I could still probably grab him, but depending on how close I am, this might not necessarily be like the wave. Now you got to be careful with stuff like this, because like as you can see, like, I kind of, like, if I hold the other way, I wind up turning around just because of that is effect. So you want to do, like, a little bit, you don't want to be on the notch, you want to be, like, a bit more inward than that. But you can see that there's, like, a real benefit here. So it, like, avoids the shine. So I would say that, like, this, with crouching, I think there's a lot of room for you to, like, you know, I hope you enjoyed that demonstration, but, like, I would encourage you to, like, kind of, like, to, like, take this for, like, you know, try to, like, experiment with this yourself. Maybe try it out in some matches, like holding different directions versus different things. I'd say that holding slightly away is really good if the opponent has a powerful close range move that they like to follow up their crouch with, like their aerial with, or whatever you're crouch canceling with. So Spacey's Shines would, like, fit into this category. I would also say that, like, oh, what else? What else is close range but powerful?
Peach down smash.
Peach down smash? Yeah, Peach down smash would absolutely count. What else would it be here? Oh, Plumber's down smash. Plumber's down, like, Mario and Doc's down smashes or jab grabs, like, those could absolutely fit into this category. Yeah, I mean, like, Icy's. Like, Icy's, like, doing, like, aerials into, like, Icy's doing aerials into jab, although we don't really want to, like, be on the ground versus them all that much, but, like, still, in a pinch. Yoshi's aerial jab shit. Although against him, I guess we could, like, lean into him. It gets complicated, like, as we, like, the obvious ones are the shines. The obvious one, the super, super obvious one is the shine. But, like, yeah, even with that, I think that, like, you can tell there's kind of, like, different methods you can take here. And different benefits to be gained depending on, like, the game state. So that would, I think, be the other big key takeaway here. Like, using, like, so let's flag the up air one. So using the upper part of the control stick gate, control stick gate, and gaining, gaining more comfort, moving UAirs left/right as needed. And then, like, the last one here is, like, yeah, expand upon crouch concepts, specifically crouching. We can DI during crouch. 2, depending on how we DI during crouch, in, neutral, away. We can be pushed further and be actionable at different distances. No, we can be pushed for more or less far, and still be actionable. Yeah. And then, yeah, I think that this is the basic. We're at time, but, like, is there anything else that came up today that you want to flag, or do you think this is a good point for now? Do you think this is good for now?
I think this is a great point. Because now I can go watch, like, I feel like I watch HBox get, like, stuff off of CC, and I've just never really understood how. And it's definitely something where it's like, oh, I can't, like, replicate it just, like, off watching it. And also, like, there's not, like, I think maybe Hacks would be the only person who would have, like, an in-depth, like, CC kind of, like, guide like that, but I don't like watching Hacks melee technique videos because they're really fucking dry.
Yeah. In general, if you're curious about shit like that, ask a nerd. Nerds know, like, best advice I can give you on stuff like that. Asking nerds, like, your local community has a local nerd. Your local nerd likes attention. Like, local nerds like it when people ask them questions because it, like, allows them to, like, makes them feel valued and stuff. So I strongly encourage it. I'd also, like, suggest that, yeah, like, it's just good. It's just a good general practice to ask your character community. Like, yeah, the Puffs, I feel like, how is the Puff Court anyway? Like, I haven't been there, but is it any good?
The old one is completely dead, but I accidentally made a second one that is significantly more active.
Hell yeah!
Well, so, like, it started out as, like, oh, every time I'm at, like, locals and, like, new players come up, like, AV's like, oh, hey, join the Falco Discord, and I know there's a Falcon Discord.
There's a Sheik one, too.
there was a Sheik one, and they were threatening to kick R-Star out of the Fox one if R-Star didn't start playing Fox, kind of thing. And I was like, damn, bro, the Puff Discord is me and, like, Jenks DMs. So I made one where I was just gonna, like, it has just a bunch of different channels that are, like, matchups that I was gonna, like, pour my matchup knowledge of into, and then just invite the, like, 4 or 5 other people and have, like, a small discussion. But around the same time, who was it? 200 MXP. They ended up also having a very similar idea around that time to make like a Canadian Puff Discord, and I had an upstate Discord, so we combined forces, and now we have like Faust and Panko. That's where that like Panko message came from, and
Oh, fuck yeah.
SDJs. So like I accidentally created a much more like condensed discussion Discord. Completely on accident. That was not my goal, but now it's really cool to just have like a bunch of different character pages, and I can just add like a good Puff player, and we all talk and stuff.
That's fucking sick. Yeah, like, and I know a lot of those players, like, they're very knowledgeable. So I would, you know what, I would lean on that. But I think like one of the biggest things in this game is that when you're watching someone like Hungrybox do their thing, if they are punishing something, and you cannot come up with like an explanation for how they're doing it, but it looks like it could potentially be really valuable, like, or beneficial to your play. I would strongly urge you, be curious. Don't give up on it just because like you can't figure it out on yourself by yourself, or like after you spent like a few hours working on it, or like a day or two working on it. Ask people, because it's really like, I find that when you ask questions like that, it gets you thinking about the game critically, and it forces you to build an understanding of its mechanics and how the different things interact with each other. Like, you would never have known that, like, ASDI down and I think you probably wouldn't have known that ASDI down and, like, crouch cancel, you can actually get, like, reduced, not, like, if you're holding down but then holding up on C-stick, like, you can actually still take knockback from, like, moves that hit you that are otherwise ASDI downable. And, like, things like that actually explain a lot of, like, they offer a lot of really interesting counterplay to problem things. Like, that's one of the things that I believe Foxes use, like crouching but then ASDIing up. It's a way that they can actually access crouch cancel in some positions versus Peach without worrying about her like down smashing them for 8,000 damage. So like there's some real benefits to understand from like digging into like how those things interplay off each other. And you won't know unless you try. You won't know unless you do that. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed today's session. Keep up the great work. Keep up the great work as always. And yeah, hopefully I see you again soon. Well, I'm going to see you again soon, because, like, yeah, I like playing you. But yeah, like, good luck at Genesis, and yeah, no, I'm rooting for you.
Thank you. I hope I get to be on stream. I think Knuckles is